I paid for my sister's dream wedding, convinced I was doing something good, something selfless. But on the big day, I found out I wasn't even invited. I didn't scream, didn't confront anyone. I just turned around and walked away. 3 hours later, her calls wouldn't stop. My phone lit up just as I sat in my car, parked outside the venue, engine still off. I'd been checking my messages all morning, half expecting a frantic call, maybe a last-minute ask. But what came through was a text, from her, just hours before the ceremony. "Hey Anna, I meant to talk to you before today, but things got so busy. I hope you understand, but we finalized the guest list and decided to only invite couples to keep things balanced. I know you get it. We'll celebrate after the honeymoon, okay? Love you." I stared at the screen, gripping my phone so tightly I thought it might snap. I read it again, and again, inviting, couples. The words smeared in my mind, refusing to make sense. I wasn't invited. To the wedding I had paid for. For months, I'd been her support system, her planner, her cheerleader, her safety net. I put my life on pause, drained thousands from my savings, to make sure every detail of her fantasy came true. And now, with a flick of a text, she made it clear. I wasn't even worth a seat. I could barely breathe. I had sacrificed more than anyone knew. Canceled my first vacation in years just to help cover surprise expenses. Skipped buying a new car, even though mine coughed and wheezed like it was on life support, so I could pay off the final venue deposit. I worked late nights, missed out on dinners with friends, and every time she panicked, I was there. When she cried about flowers, I said, "Don't worry, I've got it." When catering costs ballooned, I pulled out my credit card without hesitation. "You deserve the best," I told her, and I meant it. I planned her bachelorette, covered the decor, bought the wedding dress she'd been dreaming about since we were kids. Through all of it, she hugged me tight, whispered how lucky she was to have me, called me the best sister in the world. Not once did she warn me I wasn't even on the guest list. And now, hours before the vows, she texts me like she's giving me a heads up about a rain delay. Like I hadn't spent the morning getting ready, heart full of excitement. Like I wasn't sitting outside the very venue I had paid for, thinking I was about to celebrate her happiness. I squeezed my eyes shut, my pulse thundering in my ears. It wasn't just betrayal, it was the sheer humiliation, the image of people laughing inside that perfect venue, the one I made possible, while I sat in a car outside like an afterthought. The thought of someone asking, "Where's Anna?" and being fed some sugar-coated lie, and her, my own sister, knowing exactly what she'd done and still feeling nothing. Not even enough to call me. My fingers wrapped tight around the steering wheel, knuckles pale. I could have marched in, demanded answers, made a scene, but I didn't. Because deep down, I already knew she didn't deserve my outrage. She didn't earn my heartbreak, and she sure as hell didn't deserve my tears. So I looked at the venue one last time, watched the guests arrive, all dressed up, beaming, clueless that the person who made their day possible had been pushed to the outside. Then I put the car in drive and left. She wanted a perfect wedding, she could have it. Without me. Growing up, Lily was always the favorite, bright, charming, magnetic, the kind of girl everyone wanted to be near. She lit up a room with ease, got away with everything. And me? I was the shadow trailing behind her glow, quiet, awkward, the kid who never quite belonged. Even in elementary school, the difference was obvious. Lily would burst through the front door waving birthday invites, chattering about new best friends. I'd sit at the kitchen table, pretending not to notice that mine never came. By middle school, it only got worse. Lily had become the kind of girl people orbited, and I was still trying to figure out how to be seen. She was everything I wasn't, effortless, pretty, confident, magnetic. Teachers adored her. Parents called her a joy, a light, a delight. Me? I'd been labeled before I even knew it. Weird, boring, the girl no one chose to sit with. And the worst part? I never understood why. I wasn't mean. I didn't smell. There was no dramatic incident, no scandal to explain my exile. I was just there, the invisible girl. Or worse, the target. The one people whispered about behind cupped hands. By high school, the indifference had sharpened into cruelty. It started small. A spilled drink on my homework. Oops. Anonymous notes stuffed into my locker. Snickering when I entered a room. I tried to stay strong, kept my head down, buried myself in schoolwork. I told myself it didn't matter what they thought of me. But the worst wound came from home. From Lily. At home, she was my sister. We'd talk for hours, laugh until we cried. She'd steal my clothes, ask for advice, spill all the drama from her glittering social life. But at school, I didn't exist. I still remember the day that truth hit like a slap. I was walking down the hallway, arms full of books, when someone stuck out a foot. I went sprawling. Books, papers, everything crashed to the floor. Laughter erupted. Burning with humiliation, I scrambled to gather my things. Cheeks on fire, throat tight with shame. And there she was, Lily, just a few feet away. She saw me. Our eyes met, only for a second, but I saw it. Something flickered across her face. Pity, maybe. Guilt, maybe. And then, she turned away, just walked past. No words, no help, no acknowledgement. That was the moment I understood. I wasn't her sister in those halls. I was a liability, an embarrassment, a blemish on her perfect image. And after that, I stopped expecting anything different. I told myself I was over it, that the pain had dulled. And for a while, I believed it. College gave me a fresh start. I built something of my own, my career, my independence, a life I was proud of. And Lily? She changed too, grew softer, more considerate. She started calling me, asking for advice. She apologized once, sort of. You know how it is, Anna, it was just high school. We were all dumb back then. I let it go. I told myself we were adults now, different people, that the past didn't define us anymore. But now, sitting there, staring at the text telling me I wasn't invited to her wedding because I didn't have a +1, I realized nothing had changed. She still didn't want to be seen with me, still didn't want me in her world, at her perfect event. She was still keeping her distance, only now she cloaked it in polite excuses. And the worst part? I had believed her. I had trusted we were close again. I had given everything to her. And in return, she did what she always did. She erased me, my hands curled into fists, rage simmering beneath my skin. Not this time. I wouldn't be the girl who got walked over and walked away quietly. Not again. She would feel the absence she created. She would understand what it meant to cut me out. The calls started that night, one after another. I let the first one ring out, then the second, the third. I sat curled up on my couch, wine glass in hand, the hum of the city outside my window. It was supposed to be a night of celebration, just not hers. By the 7th missed call, I knew she realized what she'd done. And this time, I didn't rush to hear her excuses. I didn't check the messages. I let her sit in the silence she left me in. I wanted to savor it, the exact moment she realized she couldn't just use me and toss me aside like she always had. Because that's what she'd done. Again. I thought back to the day she got engaged, how she called me, screaming with joy, telling me I had to be her maid of honor, that she couldn't do it without me. She pulled me into every decision, every color scheme, every vendor, every cake tasting. Except, of course, the guest list. She let me pay for her dream wedding, let me handle the planning, cover the costs for everything she wanted but couldn't afford, and then decided I wasn't even important enough to be there. She thought she could tell me at the last minute that a half-hearted apology would soften the blow, that I'd roll over, just like always, but not this time. I picked up my phone and scrolled through the unread messages. Lily? Hey, where are you? Lily? Anna, please pick up, this is really serious. Lily? I know you're mad, but you don't understand. Everything is going wrong. Good. I tapped the thread open, my smirk growing as I read the desperation rising in every word. Lily? The venue won't let us in. They're saying the deposit was reversed? Lily? The caterer isn't here. We called and they said the final payment never came through. Lily? Anna, did you do something? Not something, Lily. Everything. Right after reading her message telling me I wasn't invited, I made one phone call. Just one. I called my bank, calmly listed every charge still pending. Yes, I'd like to dispute these. The venue, the catering, the florals. No, I didn't receive the services. I need to cancel the charges immediately. That was all it took. One quiet act of reclaiming what was mine. Every payment I'd made, reversed. Every vendor left unpaid. And her perfect day? Unraveling minute by minute. I could picture it. Lily walking up to the venue, expecting a fairy tale, only to find locked doors and a manager explaining the payment never came through. Standing around, waiting for flowers that would never arrive. Watching guests glance around awkwardly as no food, no music, no magic materialized. The embarrassment in her voice must have been deafening. The phone rang again. This time, I picked up. "Anna, what did you do?" she shrieked. So loud I pulled the phone away from my ear. Her breath came in sharp gasps. Panic, fury, disbelief. "Lily," I said evenly. "You'll have to be more specific. The wedding, the venue, the caterer, everything's falling apart." "Huh?" I said, leaning back on the couch, swirling my wine. "That sounds awful. Don't play dumb, I know it was you." I tilted my head, voice light. "And what exactly are you accusing me of?" "You canceled everything," I sighed, loud and theatrical. "Well, I wasn't invited, so none of it's really my business, is it?" Silence. Stunned, stumbling silence. Then, as if she could claw her way back, she tried to pivot. Okay, I get it. You're mad. But listen, if you just fix this, I'll invite you to the reception. Just call the vendors, pay them again. We can pretend this never happened." I nearly laughed. So now I was invited. Now that the illusion had crumbled and she had nothing left to hide behind. Now that she needed me. I let the silence stretch long enough to make her squirm. Then I said it, calm, final. "You made it clear I wasn't important enough to be at your wedding, so why would my money be?" Anna, don't." I hung up. The text poured in immediately. "Lily, are you serious? Lily, you ruined my wedding. Lily, how could you do this to me?" I smiled and set my phone down on the table. "Oh, Lily, you ruined your wedding the second you decided I didn't belong in it. All I did was make sure my money didn't either. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the forgotten girl in the background. I felt like the girl who finally walked away, and meant it." The messages kept coming, but I was done listening. By the time I woke up the next morning, my phone was flooded. Over 20 unread messages waiting like storm clouds. I scrolled through them slowly, coffee in hand, watching the chaos unravel message by message. "Lily, you don't understand what you've done. Lily, this isn't just about me. You embarrassed the whole family. Lily, Mom and Dad are furious with you. Lily, I hope you're happy. You completely destroyed the most important day of my life." I set the phone down and let out a slow breath. That last one, I'd seen it coming. I knew Lily. I knew the way her brain spun a story. And in that story, she was never to blame. She wasn't sorry for what she'd done to me, not for using me, not for taking my money, my time, my effort, not for deciding I wasn't worthy of the very day I helped build. No, she was only sorry that it all collapsed around her. And right on cue, she ran crying to Mom and Dad, ready to twist the truth into something that made her look like the victim. The phone rang. I stared at the screen. Mom. I considered letting it ring, but I knew ignoring her would only make it worse, so I picked up. "Anna," she said, her voice sharp, laced with disappointment and certainty, like the outcome of this conversation had already been written. "What did you do to your sister?" I laughed, short, dry, bitter. "I don't know, Mom. What did Lily tell you I did?" "She told me you sabotaged her wedding," she snapped. "That you took back all the payments just to punish her." I closed my eyes and pinched the bridge of my nose. "She didn't tell you why, did she?" There was a pause, barely half a second, but long enough for me to know. No, of course she hadn't. I almost smiled. Of course Lily had conveniently left out the part where she didn't invite me. I was sure she painted me as vengeful, petty, jealous. But she didn't tell them the truth. That I was excluded from a day I paid for. "Anna, whatever happened," my mom said. Voice dipped in that familiar, tired tone. "You should have handled it differently. She's your sister." And there it was. That old suffocating expectation that no matter what Lily did, no matter how cruel, how selfish, it was always my job to rise above, to forgive, to smooth things over, to put her first, not this time. "You know what, Mom?" I said, my voice calm, razor sharp. "Lily made her choice. She made it very clear I wasn't welcome at her wedding. So I made sure my money wasn't welcome either. Sounds fair to me. Anna. No, I cut her off. I'm done being treated like I don't matter. I gave Lily everything I had. My time, my savings, my support. I made her dream possible, and she still decided I wasn't good enough to be a part of it. Silence. For the first time in years, my mother didn't have a response. Because there wasn't one. Anna. Her voice softened, unsure now. I know you're hurt, but nothing, I said. I'm done being the fixer, the afterthought, the one everyone expects to just keep giving, no matter how little I get back. If Lily wants to play the victim, fine. But I'm not apologizing for finally standing up for myself. She sighed. So that's it? She asked, almost quietly. You're just going to cut your sister out of your life? I paused. And then I thought about all the years Lily pretended I didn't exist. About every memory that made me feel small. Every favor I gave. Every kindness that was used up and tossed aside. I thought about this wedding, how she'd smiled at me, hugged me, made promises she had no intention of keeping. How she had taken everything I gave and still left me out in the cold. No, Mom, I said, my voice steady. Lily cut me out of her life the moment she decided I wasn't important enough to be there. And I hung up. The silence after was beautiful. It felt like something heavy had slid off my shoulders. For the first time in years, I wasn't chasing anyone. I wasn't explaining, apologizing, patching things up. I was done. That night, I blocked Lily's number. I didn't need to hear anything else she had to say. Because the truth was, I wasn't sorry. Not for canceling the payments. Not for ruining her wedding. Not for finally choosing myself. And God, did it feel good.